Welcome back to the Krown Crypto channel. It is a big day for cryptocurrencies as the downside does continue, and the topic of the day is how far down can Bitcoin go, and is it going to get worse today? Is it going to get worse? Perhaps yes. So let's go to the chart view right here, starting off with a continuation of the analysis thread that we've been having since basically middle of last week, the 12th to 13th of March, in which Bitcoin did start putting some drives of bearish divergence on the daily RSI for CME. That was coupled with the daily stochastic oscillator also positioned to the downside, which simultaneously did give a high probabilistic move to the downside. Now, the daily stochastic momentum pivot is currently at 72,500, so I would still be biased towards further downside as long as Bitcoin is living below that pivot. And the question is, how far down can Bitcoin go? Well, we do see that the 21 exponential moving average on the daily time frame here is still sitting at just below 64,000 bucks, which is going to be an area of interest. Bitcoin's pretty close to it already, to be fair, on CME, especially with this morning's continuation of this dump. So, what's another $1,000 on top of that? Well, probably not much, but ultimately I would be looking for a bounce attempt somewhere around there. Now, bounce attempt, not the same thing as a reversal, but as we come into today, Tuesday, we should also know a statistical fact of Tuesday, which Tuesday since February has actually been the most bearish day for Bitcoin. Now, priorly to February, the beginning of February, I should say, till now, if we were to look at Tuesdays, especially for, let's say, the beginning of 2023, and really for most of history, it's been more or less, it's actually been one of the more bullish days for Bitcoin, as we do look at these statistics for Tuesday right here with 56.25% closing positively. But that, again, is just measuring from January 1st of 2023. If I change that date to February of 2024, whoops, there we go, February 1st of 2024, which is where this rally really started to get, parabolic, I would say, or around there. Tuesday is now the least bullish day, weekday especially compared to basically everything else, which is either like 80% or more closing positively. And it's also got the biggest negative return for Tuesday at losing an average of 2.63%. So as of right now on the daily, Bitcoin has lost how much? Let's just see what this would look like in terms of perspective. Yeah, from open to wick low, that would actually be a 4% move. So if it does play more towards the average, that would put Bitcoin basically just below 66,000 bucks. But ultimately, closing yet again below the yellow 21 exponential average is going to put Bitcoin in a position of weakness short term. I'm sure that the herp and dirt bros, or the head and shoulder bros, are going to be calling this a left shoulder. Let me just draw it out right here. Left shoulder, head, and right derp right there. Fair enough. I guess it is kind of in there. I would say, or I would argue, if I am going to be a pattern bro, which I'm not, that, well, your left shoulder is a little bit too far away from the head. You don't really see like the symmetry here, which to me is a signal that it probably doesn't play like that. But there is an obvious move on the other side. Again, as long as Bitcoin is basically below, in this case, Friday's high, which is 72,400, which is very much in alignment with the daily stochastic momentum pivot over here at 72,500. Downside is still the more like thing to be coming from this. We also did see, although I did not call it out when it happened, because I just noticed it now, that the 12-hour time frame for the Oracle Pro did fire off a sell signal. If it actually is going to load here, how much do I trust this? Well, as long as Bitcoin is living below the yellow moving average, which is just I think it's a 20 simple right here. Yes, 20 simple. Downside is going to be more likely. So this sell-off is more likely to get worse before it gets better. Anyways, moving back on into my notes, I should also denote that the HPDR bands was giving us a probabilistic move of a downside continuation coming in from yesterday's video as well. And where do you know? The daily median band is at 72,100 now. So it did 72,200. So again, everything kind of aligning with that, 72.5-ish region, let's say. And so as long as Bitcoin's below there, downside is more likely. Bounces are just that, bounces before getting ready for lower. But as I've been saying for, since this correction started about last week, I don't think that this is like a macro reversal. I don't think Bitcoin's going to be going to zero. I don't think any of that's happening at all. But if we were to see, based off of yesterday's video, Bitcoin really start to come back down and close below, on a daily time frame, I guess below like 56,000 bucks. Okay, then kind of have to start to, to entertain that possibility. Until then, Bitcoin can very easily come back down to even just below 60,000 bucks in the upper 50s, let's say 57 to 58,000 bucks, and still remain with the overall uptrend long term, with continuation implied probably, after, the midpoint of April, perhaps after halving, something like that, as we traditionally do see. But for right now, there is pressure on a Bitcoin. The bottom side of the 78.6 level right here is actually just below 64,000 bucks. That'd be sort of in alignment with spot price actions, correlation to the daily CME level right here. So, just around there, I'd probably be looking for another bounce attempt. But again, bounce attempt, not the same thing as reversal, just, probably a little bit of counter move. And then if Bitcoin wants to trade a little bit lower, I do think that, that would be a great setup for it coming into the end portion of this week or early next week. And I would still say, low 60s to very high 50s is probably where I'd be looking for, which would put Bitcoin at an overall correction from the highs of, about 20%, which has been the sort of corrective percentage of this cycle thus far. If I can go back and end on this note, Bitcoin has seen many corrections. Well, I wouldn't say many corrections on this current cycle, but it's seen some corrections on this cycle. This one over here, 20%. This one over here, 21.5%. This one over here, 20%. I don't know. What's the next one? Or do we even have another one over here? Yes, we do. 21%. Holy shit. That's crazy. Anyways, I think that's going to do it for my portion of today's video. I'm going to bring on Jason Pizzino now. And if you're wondering where this video is being recorded, it's being recorded during a live stream, and I'm going to upload it later and maybe even make some shorts out of it as well. So yeah. Oh, I should also end on this note. I should follow up on the setup over here. Again, for the people who have been following the 4-hour skeleton key setup, very interesting. It closed at the top side of the move yesterday for a very slight profit. Again, this is a strategy that has just over a 50% strike rate and has won the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades. And, again, I do think that taking profit at the top of this move, when it was almost 5% away, which was the average take profit target, probably going to be wise. But even then, volatility kind of keeping it safe. And now that we have seen the downside cross on the 21.55, it is not going to be active, meaning that we're probably not going to see any trades from this until we do see a low on Bitcoin, basically, and then at least a short-term reversal. So if you're following on that, yep, it did get closed. I'm not saying that they're always going to be, nice like this, even in a counter move, but in that case, you can see that volatility, or using volatility to take profit, at least in my opinion, it works incredibly well. So fair enough. All right. Yes, we'll end things right there. As always, I want to wish you the best bets. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.